Hello, buddy, from DB14 here, and welcome to the second episode of my Nostalgia Critic. Now, we all know there is some kind of violence in animation and all that, like South Park, for example. But there is this one thing that really has much more violence in it, otherwise known as the name of Happy Tree Friends. Boy, this was a good one. So yeah, it's not a movie or DVD or video cassette I'm going to review, but I probably don't have any clips, so it's going to be on me the whole time, so this might be two parts. So let's get started. First, what I have to say about it, this is amazing on how Happy Tree Friends is. I mean, this thing is so amazing. When I first watched the episodes from A to Z, I knew nothing about Happy Tree Friends. Nothing. Now I know it. And I know actually the characters. Now the most memorable character I remember is the yellow bunny Cuddles. Mainly because of his deaths and all that. But some of his deaths were kind of gruesome, like getting impaled and all that, mainly sliced. Even blown out by Splendid from the CPR thing from Hero to Eternity. Where he blows him up. Like, first of all he's just like that. He's like that and go BAM! Cuddles explodes out for no reason, and then Giggles is left with the thing where she keeps seeing a bunch of Splendids. The next memorable character I remember the most is Flippy, otherwise my favorite character in Happy Tree Friends. Good God, was this guy so easy to recognize once I saw his costume, and because of his flip-outs. The flip-outs is what I mainly love about Flippy. I know you people hate it when he dies, when Flippy dies, but he had 5 deaths. So yeah, Flippy had some unlucky moments. He died 5 times, but still, at least he was pretty good. Like in the double whammy episode, he was killing most of the people where he realized the first time of what he has done with his flip-outs. Now the one episode I remember the most, other than that one, was the party animal one, where they had a birthday party for Flippy, but he flipped out in part 2. All it showed in the first part was when he walked in the door, and then they didn't show him until part 2 mainly, because then after part 2 started, we saw him. So then I thought he was going to flip out after he hit the door, so he did. Now the one part that I really thought was going to happen on his flip out was when he looked in the knife. He was like, and went from that, like, little face, and then he went to, sorry, I cough usually when I do that. So yeah, he did flip out from it though, even though we saw his face for real doing it, but he just shook out of it. The one thing that I remember the most from his flip outs is that noise he makes when he's about to flip out, where he goes, and he goes, now what I'm doing probably would scare some people, I'm sorry, but I just have to do that, for that. So yeah, mainly Flippy's my favorite. Cuddles is my second favorite, but my third favorite is one of the characters I really love, otherwise known as Nutty. Good God, Nutty was a great character. His obsession with candy, I actually like it when someone in a show goes crazy for candy like that, even him. I remember the ICU one where he got crazy for the slushy after he picked up candy. And he just drank the thing, he got fat, and then when he ran into a pole thing, he deflated, and his body parts, his organs and intestines flew around the room and bam, smacked in the door, but then it was the doors that killed him and crushed his face, like, bam. Yeah. Notice had a bunch of deaths, not as many as Cuddles. Cuddles has died 54 times. The only 2 characters who died the least were Crow Marmot and Splendid, because they hadn't had any death results for 2 new characters, Lammy and Mr. Pickles. So yeah, so far we have nothing for them two. But for Splendid and Crow Marmot, they only died twice. Flippy, however, died 5 times. And Nutty, I'm guessing his number of deaths was somewhere in the 30s. Now, about some of the episodes. I'll talk about mainly the parts I remember the most. In the first episode I watched from A to Z, the part I remember the most is with Cuddles, when he plays with the helium tank. He sucks it, he starts singing in a voice like that, and then, suddenly, when he runs away from the dude, he just impales his eye, and his other eye is the one that comes out, not the one that turned red and got hit. From Party Animal. I remember every part from Party Animal. There's really nothing I can go against. So mainly the one I remember the most is when he kills Cuddles with the balloons. He ties him around his neck like that, and then goes flying up there, and then sliced him to pieces by the fan. So yeah, Flippy is one badass character. Now I might do his flip out noises again and his growling, which might scare you, but don't worry, I'm not gonna do it right now for this next few minutes. I need to get it rested before I can do it again. Another episode. Of course, the ICU one is the part I remember the most is when his organs and intestines started flying all over the market, and he went smack into the door. Now, the new episode, Royal Flush, was a poker game, mainly with the girls, Giggles, Petunia, Flaky, and Lammy. Now, how they died. Flaky was killed when she got impaled by the toilet plunger. Petunia. Giggles died when she got impaled by the cards after this happened, and they impaled her. Then Petunia died after getting blown up by a vacuum cleaner. Because then Mr. Pickles was causing trouble. Okay, well, here's what's weird. The puppy and Mr. Pickles actually remind me of Flippy when he does his flip-outs. Because with the puppy, though, it's a whistle that gets him flipped out. With Flippy, it's his post-traumatic stress disorder, which also makes him flip out. Going from Kimmel to... And once again, the little noise he makes when he's about to flip out. That's the noise he makes when he's about to flip out. Now, about some of the other characters. Mainly, I hear nothing much about Handy, the one with no arms and the yellow construction hat. The only one thing I remember the most about him is the light bulb one, where he's hanging onto the light bulb, and then he just drops down, like the light bulb breaks, and goes, and then he drowns in a fishbowl, and it gets stuck on his head. Petunia. Nothing really much about her either, except really no memorable moments, except for the one where Flippy smashed her face in the grill and burned it twice. Now, the other thing I want to cover is about some of the other characters, like Giggles. She's the one mainly in love with Cuddles making a couple, which I was kind of like surprised they're a couple when Cuddles is the one who dies the most. Now, I hear really nothing much about Pro Marmot, except he's just a guy in a block of ice. The other thing I remember... Now, the other thing I remember is Splendid. Good God, was he the dumbest superhero ever. He killed everyone he was trying to save. Made him kind of a good character, though, but not as much as memorable as my top three, Flippy, Cuddles, and Nutty. Handy would rather be my sixth favorite character. Now, my fourth favorite would be, probably, I don't know, but still, it's kind of a little problem, though, when I think of it. Trying to think of who my four favorite characters should be, so that just makes it a weird one. Weird decision. Now some other things I want to cover. Toofy is just the purple little squirrel thing. The death I remember from, I have no idea what he is, a boy or a girl, but Toofy is the one who dies from, the one I remember the most is the death from hide and seek, where Toofy gets the neck twisted by Flippy after using camouflage behind the tree. Now another thing I remember. About some other characters. Now my favorite of the girls, even though I don't really like girls on the show, but I do like Giggles the most of the women because she's just so good. So I like her as the best girl. Now another episode I remember the most is Without a Hitch with Flippy and Flaky. Where Flaky kept getting killed in the dream stuff by Flippy, where then she actually impaled Flippy in the eye with a thing. The glass shard. Now the one I remember the most with Flippy killing her was when he did this with the windshield wiper. He was like, yes, I'm doing his evil grin, and if I can try the best I can. He goes like, hold on, he does this. He goes, cuts off her face, goes, no, that just went fucking nuts right there. And I saw that. Remains to be seen. The one where Toothy, I think, bit into his brain and exploded, killing all them people after he, like, stepped on the gas pedal so hard from a truck it killed himself and the other characters, which appeared as zombies. To the surprise of one of my friends, he knew there was an episode with zombies in it while they were acting like it. But one of my friends knew there was one involving it where they had a conflict about zombies thing. Now this other thing I want to cover. The other thing I'm going to cover, well, what's another character? Now Sniffles the Mole and some other characters I really don't remember the most. If only I was able to do this stuff, I'll just do good really or fighting them. Now a bunch of characters are like some favorites. I mean, really. That's just a good thing. Now I'm going to talk about some of the characters. Of course, we know Flippy is the, one who flips out mainly when he sees some war related. On his first appearance in Hide and Seek was a weird one. What turned him into, his evil form, or Flippy Shift, as it's called, he just threw a knife on the burn. I didn't even see him throw it. Now, the other thing I want to cover about him is that he just gets psychotic for no reason because of some war-related things. So yeah, that's just one thing I like about him, though. Especially the noise thing. Part where he's about to turn into a psychotic form. Well, I try and do it right, but it doesn't really work. One thing I want to cover about Flippy. In the Flippin' Burgers one, he flipped out because of the ketchup thing, which looked kind of like a gun thing. He just walked in the door and he saw it, zoomed out on him, played the rock music, turned psychotic, flipped the table over, impaled Cuddles with a straw, shoved the mustard and ketchup dispensers in Giggles' ears, slammed between his face on the grill, made the restaurant explode, and then eat a fry dipped in blood. Which I thought was ketchup at first, but it was Cuddles' blood he did it in. Now some of you may think that's kind of gross, but that didn't really gross me out, because mainly blood stuff doesn't even gross me out, not even the deaths do. But in the other episodes Flippy appeared in, it was just some kind of weird thing. Another death of Flippy's I remember is the Happy Trails one where he gets burned by the sun's heat in the second part. So that covers things about Flippy. Now Cuddles. Cuddles was just one of them damn memorable characters. Well, now because of the because of what's been going on about this, I might do it more than 2 parts of my little episode of Happy Tree Friends review. because I was gonna do a thing where I had to write, like, put it down on something where I can remember what they had and all that. But I'm just gonna have to talk it through and try to remember. Now, part 2 of it might be tomorrow, because I might not be able to do the second part tonight. So you'll probably have to enjoy my first part tonight. But tomorrow you'll see my part 2, where I'll have this stuff ready. So, with that said and done, now Cuddles, he's remembered mainly because of deaths. He's the character who's died the most, with 54. I'm like, why'd they have to make him die the most? He's one of my favorites. Of course I like him also because of the way they chose him as a yellow bunny. He's just so damn memorable. I can't forget him. I never turned him down, either him, Flippy, or Nutty. Now, I will talk about Nutty next, but right now, more things about Cuddles. He is the one who also does many things. He's good at surfing, skateboarding, even though he got killed by the two. He was killed in a surfing accident when he got attacked by sharks or whatever. In the skateboarding one, he was impaled by stairs, where his legs came off, the middle part came off, and then his head. And his teeth grinded in the ground, and the teeth were gone. So yeah, that just went so wrong there. I don't even know what happened with that. See, so yeah, we remember this kind of stuff. Now, about another thing about Cuddles. He just does many things. The deaths I remember him from him the most. Like, mainly 5 of them. The one where he impaled his eye with a helium tank. The one where he was blown up by Splendid's breath. The one where he sliced up with a fan by Flippy while the balloons are tied around Cuddles' neck. Flies up to the ceiling, then bam, his neck gets cut up. The one where he was walking down the street part there, and then all of a sudden cars came out of nowhere and killed 3 people, including him. And the 5th death I remember the most. Unless this is 4. Let me see. The stairs one, and the one where Flippy impales him with a straw. I do remember the one in the water slide where he got split in 2, and same thing happened to Flaky mainly, after getting skinned because of the spikes appearing in the thing. That just killed her a lot. So that's the thing I remember about her, but I'm not going to talk about her yet. Well, actually, since Giggles is my favorite girl one, I'd pick her as my 4th favorite. Flicky would be my 5th one, Handy my 6th, Petunia my 7th. Now there's some other things too to talk about these characters. I mean, Cuddles is just a character who just dies the most. I don't know why they did that to him. But they shouldn't have made him die the most. Shit, I broke my finger. There were some other things happening too. Well, mainly not much more about Cuddles, except some bunch of his deaths and all that. But he's so damn memorable, even with his deaths. But he has survived many episodes. Next character, Nutty. Nutty is so damn memorable too, just as much as Cuddles and Flippy, since they're my top 3 favorite characters. I mean, Nutty. When I first saw him in the one where he wanted Cuddles' ice cream cone, he was hiding behind a tree and he just came out of nowhere. The weird thing is, he has candy on his face as a uniform. Like, he brushes his teeth with a candy cane, or a lollipop. He rinses his mouth with soda in one episode. He puts candy on as his little clothing. I didn't believe that. Like, why does he put candy on as a clothing? What kind of sick, twisted person would make him do that? He doesn't wear any clothes, because in fact nobody does except for Flippy mainly, since he's the one who wears the army uniform. But Nutty just wears candy as his uniform, so he just puts on his face and all that. There are many episodes and moments I remember about him the most, especially the one called ICU, where he takes the candy, he sees a slushing machine, where he tries to drink from a cup first, doesn't really like it, he throws the cup out. He drinks from the machine himself, but his mouth gets stuck on there. He does that, and his jaw comes off. Well, he's so fat now. He's wobbling and all that. He runs into his little pulley, which impales him. He starts flying around the room, knocking out his intestines and organs. Flies into the door and gets his face crushed by the doors after they open and crush his face to pieces. No, I actually like how I said that. Where I said his face got crushed to pieces. I said that really weird. Another thing I remember about Nutty is where, mainly he does a bunch of things. Like, another death I remember is when he got killed by Flippy in the double whammy one, where Flippy had the stress toy where he squeezed it to make sure he didn't flip out, but it popped after a balloon popped, so that he squeezed the thing and the eyes came out and exploded. He came up in his evil Flippy shift form. He grabbed Nutty, put his head through the wall, and made his head explode with the water gun. It went like that, and boom, the head exploded. So then he had a third way, which was the thing where he gets hypnotized. Oops. Sorry about that. Did it get turned off? No, it didn't. This usually happens. Sorry about that. I had it leaning down too low, so sorry about that. Make sure it doesn't happen again. There we go. Flippy just squirts the water gun on Nutty's mouth until his head explodes. Except because mainly the Royal Flush one was mainly about the girls. No, it's mainly. Except the only guy there was Mr. Pickles. The other characters were girls. And son of a bitch. I am about to have a flip out on my own, just like Flippy. If this happens again, don't. Thank you. Well, Nutty is just a damn memorable character. I'd never forget him. Now, Giggles. She is the one who's in love with Cuddles so much, making them an official couple. I just like this idea, though, about it. And how they're a couple and all that. Oh, hold on. Okay. So mainly what happens, she has died many times before. I think hers is in the 20s or 30s, just like Nutty's. But she is just a memorable character too, but number 4 though, not one of my top 3 favorites. So, yeah, weird things have happened. And if this thing falls down one more time, I'm going to go into my Flippy shift. Start forming a